Welcome. Welcome to the gathering at the Cosmic Fire Summit 2025. Heart to heart, hand to hand, soul to soul, answering the global call to be of service. We are all beings of light, finding our way in the world, seeking support, connection, and seeds of inspiration along the way. Over the next 5 days, honored healers, teachers, and thought leaders from the world of shamanism and earth based traditions will uplift, inspire, and guide us to step more fully into our true purpose and our own unique path in answering the call to sacred service. Each one of us is a carrier of wisdom and medicine and the potential for change and healing in our world. Together, in unity and service, we can illuminate the way forward for our human family today and for all our relations in the generations to come. This gathering is brought to you by Shaman's Directory, a vibrant, growing nonprofit global platform dedicated to bringing shamanic earth based services to the world's doorstep. Together, we are powerful medicine. I'm Wake, one of your hosts for the Cosmic Fire Summit, and I am truly delighted to welcome Grandmother Helen Lindmark as our featured guest today. Welcome, Grandmother Helen. It's so nice to see you again.
Oh, it's so nice to be with you again, Wake. I'm happy to be here, a part of this summit, but also I'm so uh, I'm so grateful to be a part of the movement of Shaman Directory and being a part of that.
You've dedicated your life to global service, and I'd like to tell people a little bit more about your path and who you are in the world. Grandmother Helen Lindmark is a wisdom keeper from the Arctic North, carrying a lineage rooted in her tapestry of Sami and Northern heritage, woven through ancestral lands of minority peoples above the Arctic Circle. A ceremonial leader grounded in the forest, she bridges ancestral traditions with modern approaches to foster healing, resilience, and reconnection. Being a living bridge between polarities, Grandmother Helen listens deeply, observing, hearing, and allowing trust to emerge from within. She softly weaves people back to their essence, inviting their inner compass to guide them home. Home to the heart, to love, and to the beauty that lives within and around us. With a background in social work, psychiatry, and Indigenous leadership, she offers trauma informed guidance to individuals and communities. A respected voice of global wisdom circles, Grandmother Helen empowers others to walk in harmony with the earth, their origins, and the living spirit of the land. Grandmother Helen, you have a topic today that you've suggested for our conversation, a walk from our outside landscape to our inside landscape, coming home. What do you mean by this? And what is the significance of walking from the outside landscape to our inner landscape?
It means that we are living in this reality today, and that is the outside landscape. We have work, we maybe have a role, we have friends, we have hobbies, we do things, we dedicate ourselves to things. And then we have an inside landscape that is the heart, the soul, the spirit, the body, the psychic, the whole being of our appearance. And I can see among when I travel around the world, but also around my inner circle, that the life goes so fast. So it becomes so far away to sit and just be, and just sit and be with yourself and deeply listening to, do I really want to do that? Am I really drawn to this? Or is this something that is expected of me? or that I think it's expected of me. So instead, we often go in, even I can do that, going in to overthinking things. We go into different realities. And for me, it's no separation. It doesn't mean if you are the highest in something, there's a equality and everyone has the same value. And I think that to reach some understanding, it's not about indigenous we and the, the ground people, my neighbor, them. It's about how can we be the living bridge of what our ancestor was fighting for and wanted to bring us, but also wanted for us to understand that they really are also want us to trust ourselves. And also this is what they're expecting from us, that we in the present time that they have not lived take the responsibility. And for that we need to have a living bridge, polarities. How do we walk that walk, and what does it mean, what is the feeling? And that is a feeling beyond the words. What is the frequency of feeling that I'm in peace, I'm in harmony, I am home with myself.
Well, grandmother, you have been known as a bridge of light yourself. And I feel that that is so true. And you come to these understandings through your own ancestry and through the land. I know your father was one of your great teachers, as well as your grandmother, who hosted everyone in town. She was the center or core of the village. Tell us a little bit, if you will, about your ancestry and how that informs you now.
So I was very gifted to grow up in a very small village. About, I don't know how many, 60 people maybe. I grew up with my mother and father. I have two elder siblings, and we lived in an old school. And next door, so we had two apartments. My grandmother and grandfather lived in one, and my father and mother and me lived in one. And what was so beautiful to see is that it was how we came together as a family, how we helped each other. If there was a problem, if someone needed help. But also what's very fascinating for me as don't didn't understand at that time that I was gifted, but was that people came home into our home and they come with heavy shoulders and sad or pain, and they go out with such light. And I could see the difference when they met my grandfather. I was very young when he died, but even I have so many memories of him. But also how my grandmother, I mean, it could be someone who had not home, who was very affected by alcohol, and she always gave them food, somewhere to sleep. And so it was this loving space that it doesn't mean if you are the king or having a kingdom, you're not worthy more than anyone else. We are the same. It's just the shape of ourselves. It's just the different realities. That is the difference. That's the diversity. But within ourselves, the same nature that is inside of you is inside of me. But it has a different resonance because everyone is unique. So by growing up in that, having that understanding, the richness of nature, but also growing up as a young girl with not any really friends in my own age, I had quite a bit to go to school. It was very, I love to be with the elder. I love to hear the stories. I love to see them sit, and gossip about someone else in the village, knowing everything about you, even if you didn't know it by yourself. They knew everything. And I was doing the mail for many people, getting them and going home to that. And I was recently up in the north, and I was visiting my aunts with my father, and I started to telling stories for them about how my small stories about what the richness was in the village. We had an old couple that I took care of. And one day I was gifted her wedding dress, a black one. And they said, how did you get that? And I said, I don't know. She said that she wanted to give me that. And then when I started to sharing stories, they starting to sharing stories about when they were growing up, how it was, memories about the same. And it was so beautiful because this couple was a very specific couple in the village. They didn't have any children. They lived with the animals. She had the sheep in the living room. She had a snake in the bed. They were very eccentric, but it was so, it was so exciting to be there because you couldn't really. So for me, my ancestry is really all the stories, and also all the stories of the land, all the tracks in the forest, all the animals, all the footprint of the animals. The bird coming to my uncle had, there was this big bird coming outside our house. He was just feeding them by the hand. It was this enormous life of being one with something. And I think I'm very rich to have that. And also I had very difficult in school because I had to travel to school every day, and the school was in a bigger town, and I had quite hard to understand this social interaction, how to fit in, how to be, and also meeting many of my friends and seeing that every family doesn't have this. Some people are working, some children go home and they are alone. So for me, it became, I think I was just 7 years or 8. I promised myself I will be a young mother and I will have a big family and I'm going to give them the most love and being there for them and being there and bridging them into life. And that I have done. I have 4 sons. So, but this was really, and then of course it was another side of it because I saw spirit from before I was 3 years old. I had a lot of occasion where I left my body and things like that. But my mother was very scared. She was very afraid. She come from another family where also religion had quite a hard. And it was mostly my grandmother, not my grandfather. But so it was like when I talked about it, it was like she said, no, 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 we don't talk about that in our home. There's nothing. But my grandmother and my father, they just put a hand on me. And then I could feel like, oh, it's there, but I don't know what it is. But it's a richness. And it became also my richness. It became my life. It became a part of my reality. So I would say I lived many realities in my life. And when you talk about ancestry, we we don't only heritage a skill like being a carpenter. We heritage energy, habits, and it can flow through many generations, and it can pop up in a newborn baby or something like that. So what's very important for me was to really, in many years, I wanted away because I didn't understand life. I was 15 when I left, and I really wanted to see the world. I wanted to understand the world. And it was after my crash when I was 37, I realized that I lost my home. I lost my connection to me. And who am I? And on that road, my father helped me that I needed to listen, to deeply listening, coming home to the land, go out in the forest. And I didn't understand him because what will you listen for if someone says, if they say, go out and listen for a bird, then you know. But he said, just go out and listen. And every day I came home, he said, like, oh, Helen, you are not listening with a very soft, gentle voice. And I was like, what will I do? What am I doing wrong? And you come to a point when the soul is really tired of fighting and tired of trying to, the brain is really suffering. And that day come, and then I saw this mother moose, looked in her eyes, and I saw myself. And suddenly everything became vibrant, everything became alive. Trees, everything, the smell, everything. And then I realized that, wow, there is no separation. What I've been feeling from the beginning is this is to truly be home. And when I came home, he said, oh, you have listened, nothing more. But he's been with his silence, with his presence, with his surprises when he sees I'm ready. I have so many questions for him, and he didn't answer any one of them. Because he said that everything is within you, Helen. So that is really what I want to bridge to the world, to bring back the trust and to be true to yourself.
I think that's so profound, grandmother, in that you're quite educated. You practice psychiatry. You went out into the world and obtained degrees and came back to be of service. But this way of finding yourself again, your interior landscape, that you truly came home. Could you describe more of this experience of coming home and how can we take this journey more fully into our interior and to what we know inherently as you have found?
It's really, we have the spirit, the body, the soul, and the psychic. So today we are really trying to figure out, where is the world going? What is the present time we are living in? We are worried about so many things. Can we have food on the table? Finance. Am my children safe? Am I safe? Will I lose my work or not? So we are really in the head. But we have a physic body. This body is our temple, it's our house, it's our teacher. It guides us and it speaks to us, but not with words. And maybe not always with pain, with vibration, with chills, with warm, with cold. And one part to come home to yourself is to ask yourself, do I respect myself? Do I truly respect myself? Am I humble and gentle to myself? Or am I just humble and gentle to everyone else? Would it be wrong if I would be humble and gentle to myself, loving and caring? Because that is not to be egoistic. But there's a big point, a stick pointing that you will not be egoistic. Don't be egocentric. But if I don't care for myself, if I don't listen deeply to myself, I'm losing the connection to myself. And I'm trying to survive through different patterns of realities that I have around me, that is surrounding me. So my grandmother always said, we talk about today, we have so many fancy words, but we talk about intuition, the stomach feeling. So she always said that, Helen, if I had a problem, how did you feel? Oh, I feel I had kind of a worry in my stomach. Yeah, then you shouldn't do it because the stomach is telling you something is not really aligned. And this simple tools of, where are we breathing? Am I breathing up here like very fast? Or can I really just offer myself to take some deep breath every day to feel my body, feel the movement of my water, feel the movement of my breath, feeling it going through my body. And also, but it's starting with being respectful to yourself. And and also we have a system of shame and guilt, of judgment against ourselves, a self-destructive way of seeing ourselves. We can we have can take myself as a mirror. I have lived 56 years. I've done 1,000 of, if you call that, mistakes. Am I a bad person? No, I'm not. Was it mistakes? No, it was teachings. Because if I haven't done this path, this worldly roller coaster in my life with so many occasions, I wouldn't be here sitting with you and doing this interview. My whole life is a universal life, is a library of all the knowledge I have of living in this present time. And that is a richness, which means that sometimes I am the student and sometimes I am the teacher. And that is really important to remember, because if my son asked me like this, oh, what do you think about this? And I said, what do you think? I don't know. I think I should go. I think I should try that. And but then he do something else. And then I ask him, what is in your mind? And he says that I should have tried that. Exactly. Because we need to following the flow of ourselves. It means like we need to try. One of my boys don't want to go downhill skiing. And everyone in school did that. And so I took him up to where they ski, and I rented the whole equipment for him, and he went out and he said, I don't really want to do this. And I said, fine. Then we went in, we left it, and we left. And then I said, now you can tell your friends you have tried. It's really to see, and that's why it's so important to not to really to deeply listen to the youth and the children today, because they are born with another frequency. I was born with the frequency of knowing that the mining is there. Every Thursday, the dynamite goes off. It was before I was born. It was there from 61 and I born 69. And always having this anxiety of worrying, am I really safe? And feeling the pain of the land. So I think with this simplicity of starting of kind of asking yourself, what am I longing for? Am I respecting myself? Am I doing the right thing? Yeah, maybe you're doing that. Maybe it's all about giving yourself a little space to embrace yourself if you are questioning what you're working with. So, how do you value your time? Is it balanced? How much time do you have for yourself in your daily life? Is there even existing? Maybe you could start with 5 minutes, because you need to relearn the system. It's not to say, okay, I cut off and I give myself half a day once a week. And I promise you will be very restless and thinking, what will I do with this time? But if you start with small step and adjusting, like 10 minutes, half an hour, and starting to, and do you need to know what you need to do with that time? No, you don't have to know. See that as a time of opportunities, possibilities. What do you want to bring into that time? The not knowing is really a gift. It's a space where everything and nothing can happen.
Enthralled by this idea of having a library within. And does this library consist of our own personal experiences as well as ancestral
Mhm.
experiences? Tell us more about the library within.
The library within is that I have the memories of my land. I have the knowledge. I have it within me. I have the memories and the knowledge from my family. that was very diverse and not always easy. And then I educated, like you said, I start early to work. I left when I was 15 and started as a nanny. And then I continued with children. Then it became elders, and then it became people with disabilities. And I became a mother for 4 boys, care for the home, and I had 2 dysfunctional men that I cared for. So I had kind of a, yeah. So I became the big caretaker. And it was something that I chose. I wasn't forced to that. It was what I knew. This was who my grandmother was. This was in my ancestry. The women cared. They were these big arms. But one thing that was missing, how do I care for myself? So when my first crash come, I remember when I wake up in the morning at the hospital, I was like, I wanted to scream. Just wanted to go and become Sunday again. I wanted to go to bed. I wanted to go to the conference in the Monday morning at my work. I didn't want to be in that space because I lost all my roles, all my roles. Nothing was secured anymore. And that was quite a journey. It was really, really a journey. So it was a journey of realization that I was afraid of being alone. And why was I afraid of being alone? Because I didn't feel safe with myself. I didn't trust within. I needed confirmation. I needed something to hold on from the outside because I was missing a connection within myself to have that connection. So during life, I met another man that I engaged myself with, was also dysfunctional, but it was a big teacher. It was a big teacher. I raised my children, and then I divorced, and then I decided that I need to be by myself. I need to understand within everything of being spiritual, walking this path dedicated to my call. But who is Helen? What does she need in life? Who is she? And it was 2 years of a lot of silence, a lot of training myself because I didn't know how to be. I know how to do. I didn't know how to sit. I was restless and I wanted to fix the problems. It was easy to fix because, and many times I escaped to that, the fixing thing. So but during life, it's a roller coaster. We get our challenges, and I had many. I was a lot of sick. And the last one was this summer. I realized maybe I have walked too fast. I've been in organization structures. I've been in service for so many things. Was that an escape? Yeah, maybe a little bit. But what am I truly burning for? And I'm burning for what we talk about today. I will want to be in service for humanity. I want to be as smooth as water to help people to come back to the respect to themselves and the understanding of the importance of deeply listening within yourself and then act from that without yourself. It makes a big difference when this realization comes, when trauma from being something that is so hard becomes a gift when you look. So, what is the crack in our life? And what is the golden seed in all the realities we have lived? So, there's really no. So, I I realized that I wouldn't be able to bridge people like I do, or help or speak in this summit as I do, if I wouldn't have this universal library of life, all this experience with different work, being a mother, being a wife, I wouldn't be being a daughter, growing up how I grew up with my mother. I wouldn't be me if I didn't find a way of embracing the wholeness of my experience of my life. That's the universal library. And that's where I tap in. So often when I meet people, I was meeting my Hungarian family. I I tell stories from my own. I am the mirror because and that is for me is so important to have the understanding. I am the mirror. I have four sons. I wanted a daughter. Today I understand. I have a granddaughter, but if I had a daughter, I maybe have traumatized her really badly because I really wanted to give her everything that I wasn't given. But I was gifted with four beautiful, beautiful, diverse boys. And I'm really, really grateful for that. So I think that even if we have been in so many, I always say to my sons, if they ask about advice to buy something or starting a new work, I say, try, do that. Take an experience. It's a part of life. One of my sons, he asked when he was 17, could you teach me? And I was thinking, yes, wow. And my grandmother came and she said, oh, you're not going to teach him. You know, Helen, you're going to support him. You're going to be there, but you're not going to tell him what to do. You're going to guide him to listen to himself. And maybe when he's 28, he will be ready for opening that. So I think that is to be that we are so easily, we are caught in everything that happens, everything that happens around the world. But what do? We get in a scarcity. We become afraid. And then if I talk to someone who not in this world that I am, they say, but oh, that's so far away from my world, the indigenous spectrum. And then I said, it's not far away because you all have wisdom. You all we come from the same source. I am fortunate to have the lineage I have and being guided to come home to that. But you have also wisdom. You also come from lineage. And often I ask this question, have you ever, come to a place or met a person or hear something and you're thinking like, I know that. That is wisdom. The knowing beyond the knowing. And you can't Google that.
I love that phrase, knowing
Yeah.
beyond the knowing.
Yeah.
Um, when you look inside, Grandmother Helen, when you spend a few moments on a daily basis coming within, describe or paint a picture of what you find there, if you would. What do you find
Mm.
inside?
For example, if I have some worries, some birds in my head that flying around, I stop breathing. My breath go up here, and everything becomes heavy. And then when I try to deep breath, I feel like it's it's like very very tight in the chest. So instead, I try to metaphoric, just embrace that I embracing in air or white light or just filling myself with the ground or sinking into the ground. But I feel it really on my mood, but I also feel it extremely in my body with the kind of, for example, I know that when I'm not following, my right knee is starting to pain. And then, yeah, okay, now I know. So, and also if my hips starting to behind my back, the part where we are treasure of the ancestry are in the back, it if it comes quite tight, then I have to look into, is it me or was it system where I was, or was it the land? What is this? Is it connected to me? Maybe if it's connected to me, maybe I drink too little water, but really to feel into, is this familiar to me? And one thing I want to say to all of you is that when the first thought comes in you, don't negotiate it away. Don't compromise it away. That is all about trust, because the trust comes from within. So the body trusts you that you will walk. It trusts you that you will hold the structure. And when you start to trust the body, then something is happening. It's like a movement in the body. And it's really, for me, it feels in my wholeness. So today I felt a little bit sick, and my father was calling and he said, "Are you sick?" No, I'm just resting. And I rested the whole day. And I just, was just resting and allowing myself to rest, and not this, because it's very intense at the moment, energetic also, but also that I have a worry for my father that's also affecting me. So, and then just to calm the system that, okay, you need to rest. Don't go in, because if I go in the stress, then I easily get a weak immune system, and I can easily pick on me cold or something that is kind of inflammatory or bacterial.
Do you feel in general, Grandmother Helen, that we are less connected with ourselves than we could be, or that is healthy to be? Do you feel that the people you come in contact with, including yourself from time to time, are disconnected from their inner way of being?
Yeah, yeah, I feel that. But I also feel something else, that we think that everyone say the big screens are, we need to be connected, we need to go back to nature. But if this connection was lost, maybe in the third generation, how do I know how it is to be connected? It becomes a Greek word for me. It becomes very far from me. It becomes like, oh, is it the hippie world? It is flower power or whatever. And yeah, I really feel that the disconnection is not to find the blame of why we are disconnected, it's the way of how can we find back to ourselves, and not thinking of how can we, you know, what it does it mean to be connected? How can we take that word and make it a puzzle? What pieces does it needed to be connected? And one thing to remember is different for everyone, because it is all about the universal library we have. So the connection, I see it, but also that, everything that happening in the world, and also that I feel that the way of the movement of screaming or demanding we want our rights back, I stand behind all of that in a way, but I don't think that is the way to reach results today. I believe that we need also to, as we demand deeply listening, nature wants us to deeply listening. We need to find a way of communicating what does it mean to deeply listening. So we also need to step back and deeply listening. What is the lack here? What is the crack here? And how can we weave that? We maybe don't have, how do we start? In maybe with our own family, and maybe within ourselves, and then we scale it out. But I see really this is something that becomes a wider perspective, that it's a separation. This is what I see, and not a unification. And to change that, we need a simpler language, because what's become our biggest defense system is today is words. So we have a word for intention, and then it comes another word that is more complicated, and and it becomes a defense system. But where are we? And we need to understand that when it comes to the collective trauma, to the ancestry, it's we all have a responsibility to take care of that. Even if I'm a healer, I'm a shaman or whatever I am, I'm a king. It's my responsibility to take care of that journey. But then it's how to bridge that journey. What tools do I need on the path? And I think we have too less teaching out in the world about that. How do we simplify it? What does it mean to meditate? Many people say like this, oh, I don't have time to lay down 30 minutes. And I say, you don't have to lay down 30 minutes. When are you relaxed? When I'm out running, and then run for 30 minutes. That's your meditation. You're clearing your mind. Is to find this, but it becomes culture, it becomes subculture also, that this is the fashion at the moment, this is the fashion at the moment. And it goes so fast because we have another interaction with social media, with influence today. And sometimes I wish we don't have the mobile phone, because it's really, how did we do in the old days when we wanted someone? Yes, we knocked on the door and we say, hello, you have a coffee or can I come in, And it was, we saw each other. Today, we don't have the time to see each other. And that doesn't mean I need to put a whole day with someone. Just a second, like I'm seeing you now. Just these small things.
Well, I know, Grandmother Helen, you've dedicated your life to service, and you
Mhm.
have a big calling that you answer um, every day. And I'm wondering, does this awareness of the inner self, does that lead you naturally back to global service? Or what is the interface between feeling comfortable within and feeling the desire to make an impact in the world?
If I am not in my core, I start to run. I go everywhere and nowhere. I try to catch. I try to, okay, I'm being asked for that. I've been, yes, yes. I say yes to everything because I can't think clear. But when I'm within myself, I think clear and I look around and I see, okay, where am I in best service? I don't have to be everywhere and nowhere. Where do I serve best? Maybe I'm serving best by sitting here and speaking to you. Maybe I'm serving best by engaging myself in my father at the moment because it's needed, because that will give back something to me. And I want to give back to him. So I really have caught myself that this is really a pattern I do very easily if I'm not cautious, is that I I can't think clear. I have other glasses. So I think like, okay, of course I can do that. Of course I can do that. Now I'm more cautious, to look what is the intention by I'm going to do. And it's not that I don't want to be supportive everywhere. It's more that I think we all have a purpose and we have different purpose on this earth and we all are needed. So it's not for me to do everything. And there are many others that is, and even, um, my neighbor could be more in service in some occasion than me. So it's really that to see that, but also ask for help and also seeing that, you know, um, sharing out responsibility, you know, and don't feeling like, that you're losing something. Because often we want, if we have something that we feel secured with, we want to hold on to it. And we feel like, okay, I'm doing this. I don't need help. I manage it. But maybe it will be more rich if I share it and I ask for help. And I delegate to other people to do things that are skilled on different things. And so I think that during my last 2 years, I have really find what my skill is.
Well, it feels like, Grandmother Helen, to be of true outer service, the first service is to serve within. Is that your
Mm.
message?
Yes, yeah, it is. And to be a mirror and to know some people can be quite. I had a man group, I met some men. They wanted to ask me something, and they said like this. They asked me some questions, and I answered them. And then I said that, do you think that I've been the best mother ever? And they said, yes, of course. And I said, no, I wasn't there. For my oldest son, I didn't listen. I was totally busy in my career. I was totally busy to fix everything, to hold the core for a dysfunctional man, the home, everything. I wasn't there. But am I a bad mother for that? No, because this is what I knew at that moment. So I think that is also to be honest, that because we think if we are honest and we are saying that I might went a little bit off track there. Am I a bad person? No, you're not a bad person. Maybe you needed that experience for the future.
I've heard you say, Grandmother Helen, that there's a house within the house.
Yes, exactly.
Speak to that, if you will.
Yeah. So I grew up in this beautiful home. My grandmother's home was very loving and caring. And my own home was very many realities. My mother was very strict and very brought up in a religious family and super afraid of everything. My father was a silent person. So everyone looked at our house and think that, oh, we have a beautiful house. You have a beautiful family. You're so caring. But there was another house in the house where it was not so lovely, where they had a lot of questions why that I would never was answered. So I learned to observe how to be. I didn't know why my mother reacted like she did in many occasions. I became silent. I became afraid. I was so deeply in fear until I was 15. And the house in the house is that it became that everyone knew in a way what happened in the house, that it was not maybe so glorious all the day. And we had to adapt to my mother's, how she was feeling, but we never talked about it. So I learned how to adapt to different personalities or life. And that was a house we never talked about. That is a house I have an opportunity today to talk to about with my father. How was it for him? How was it for my aunts? Because how was it for my grandmother? Because it wasn't easy all the days. And I cried a lot and I was very afraid. So my safety space was the other reality, to be in nature, my pine with the spirits that was walking with me when I was walking in the tracks, popping up, coming and following me, an old lady and a man. So it was quite, and I think in many homes, sometimes I say people share roof with each other. But is there a connection? If there were no connection really in my family, like the way we communicated emotions and, talking about things. So I didn't know how to communicate. I didn't know how to connect. So I learned that by observing and educating myself in humanity. And it was always so interesting for me. And even today, I can listen to when they're doing trials, I can listen to them and doing like a personal profile, because I think it's interesting with humanity, how we shape, and like we make a crime or we make something bad, but what is the history of this boy or this woman? What is the history behind that? And so what I did, instead of to bring that house with me in my life, was that I shaped myself up. I became good in everything, and didn't want to return. I educated. I became the best mother. I took care of everything at home. I had small children. At the end, I had so many things going on, and one thing that I didn't want was that I wanted to prove to my mother that I could fix my life. When she died, I gave a speak in the church about my diverse mother, my chameleon of mother that lived in the house, that I many times didn't understand, or most of the time, but that I appreciated her and I love her, and I will try to understand what the story was of her. Today I know the story of her and I have a fully understanding. She didn't have the tools, and it was never about me. It was about her ancestry. It was about the collective that formed her, that formed my grandmother. And that pain I took with me in my life. And it took some years to understand that and to come in peace with that. That often when I talk to people, I say that when they want to, I feel the uncomfortable in them to talk bad about the parents, the family. And I said, it's not about talking bad. It's about, this was your father, this was your mother, this was your siblings. And they are not bad persons. This is what the reference they had. This is what the reality was. And there were no tools. In my home, there were no tools of communication. I have learned my father. I decided when I became 50, I want to learn to know him. I want to communicate with him. And we have reached that level. And today he's my totally, mirror that we're really looking up to, because he is really embracing life in a way that I never seen that he do now, even if he's not really well all the time.
Grandmother Helen, I know you have a practice for grounding that would be most helpful now. Would you share that?
Yes, of course. I think it's important that we take a moment of feeling ourselves and ground ourselves. And you can take a space in the morning, you can take a space in the evening or during the day, what feels most the best for you. So what I would like you to either you go, if you take a morning walk, you go outside or just stay outside in the stairs of your home, or just sit by the window where you can feel the sky, you can see the nature, or even have a picture of nature, because maybe you're living in an urban city and you don't have an opportunity to see nature. Maybe there's a place you have been for vacation or anything like that. You can use that as a metaphor. So for that you need a stone, and it doesn't have to be a crystal or anything. It's more it's even more beautiful if it's earth-based, a stone from the ground where you're living, that is you. And also water. Water if you have access to a special place or just water from your home, and a candle. So you're embracing all the elements and your own breath, your own life force. So you take you put these three items around you, and I often say that you can hold to be connected with the ground. You can hold the stone in the left hand because that's connected to the heart. And then you just close your eyes and you just take 3 deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. And when you do that, you can imagine that you are just filling yourself with energy, or expanding yourself so you feel that you come awake. It's like waking up. And then if you have the stone in the hand all the time, you just take it and you present yourself to the earth. And then you take the water and you look at it and you present yourself to the water. And then you take the candle and you present yourself to the fire. And then you put your hand on your chest and you take a deep breath and present yourself to the air. And now when you're sitting there in silence, what is the surrounding? What do you hear? Is it your heartbeat? Is it a bird? It is your colleague tapping on the computer. Just, you don't have to seek for anything. Just deeply listening. 3 surroundings that are around you. And then you take a question within yourself. What really needs attention in me? What do I need to carry and what can I let go of? And what can I give? And these questions are not there to answer at the moment. They are gifts to yourself. It can erase an emotion in you. It can erase your thought in you. Maybe you write down some words. Maybe you say something. Because it's really about being respectful and precious to yourself and deeply seeing yourself within yourself. Because when you open your eyes, you are a part of both the outside landscape and the inside landscape. And that is really so important. So by embracing this wholeness and by these 3 questions, what do you want to bring in to the day or to the night? Or if you want to do it before you go in for a meeting, you feel maybe overfilled in your brain of thoughts, or do I remember that? Do I remember that? This is just a very simple grounding that easily is done in a few minutes. And then many think that it's beautiful to carry this stone with them because it's a remembering of the grounding. It's the remembering of the core within you that holds you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, grandmother, for that practice. And I wonder, before we need to close, is there anything else you would like to offer the audience?
I have an interview with you, Wake, that I love. This is the man I love to work with. He is so beautiful. He can make me feel very, very safe and, seen and deeply heard. And this is so important with these meetings. And this energy we can bring into when we're meeting other people, and it becomes a mirror for them. And that's a very simple of planting a seed in your friend or your colleague. So I really want to say thank you for being asked to be in this summit and to really for all you do. And but also I want to say to the audience, don't forget that you are unique, and the universal library you have is unique for you. It's a gift and it's a treasure. And remember that we can live in regret. We can try to relive, but really fill into, give you the gift of filling into what do you need? What is emerging in this present time, both within yourself, but also without. So thank you, Wake.
You're welcome, Grandmother Helen. It's a great honor to sit with you once again, as we all feel in your engaging presence. I want to tell the audience that you are available for a consultation, and we'll put your email at the bottom of the screen so people can reach out to you. You offer a variety of sessions, and also simply wish people to contact you directly to connect with you and to see if there might be a union there, a nice sharing. And the gift of you, as you've mentioned, I'm very pleased that we've had another time together, and this interview that we had previously recorded tells a little bit more about your history and your story with your father, and your visit to the forest, and some more beautiful aspects of your life and your work. For all those who are listening, then scroll down so you can get a sense of how to connect with Grandmother Helen more completely. I'm so happy you're taking time with your father. I,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm so happy that you're spending time following your true calling and listening to yourself. I love this image that you offered us, that you strive to be as smooth as water.
I think that, it's very fun with my grandchildren. They fighting a lot. And I'm sitting, they want me in between. So I said that, okay, I am smooth as water. So I don't have to say anything. And then I said, okay, okay. It's really beautiful to see. But it's all about the energy. It's because I have time. I sit, this is kind of, we don't have to give, we think that we are around our children 24 hours, but 10 minutes for a child where you deeply, deeply sitting with it and deeply listening, it is worth so many hours. It's a precious gift.
I look forward to our next encounter. We all appreciate your presence at the gathering, your inspiration to look within and see the calmness, see the deeply listening that you model so well, and that is a part of you and your message that you wish to share. So thank you so much for this time together.
Thank you.
And for everyone who's viewing and participating, we thank you for your time that you've taken out today to be with Grandmother Helen and to listen to her way of being and to experience her for yourself. We hope that you will join us for our next interviews around the cosmic fire. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Um, have a great day. Thank you.